Hey, it's me. It's Mr. B.O.B. hanging once again with the mac and cheese. So this week we plan on talking about sparring, whether it's tournament sparring, whether it's regular sparring, whether it's special sparring, just sparring in general, what we like, what we don't like, what we think is useful, what we think is not useful.
Right.
So what do you think? What do you think?
Well, I mean, let's start with what we do before we branch out into other areas, because for sure, since our family started with goals, sparring has evolved a lot.
Yes.
It was always well organized, but I think maybe the argument could be made that possibly in the Philly school, we were a little more blood sport and a little less Karate Kid.
Yeah. I would.
Which was weird, and it's probably the culture of where we live too that really kind of drove that. We lived in a city. City was a little bit rougher. Really wanted to prepare the kids to handle just about anything that could come at them. The school in Delaware County, it's not the mean streets of Delaware County aren't like the mean streets of Philadelphia. So the style had to evolve a little bit. Not that there's anything wrong with either way, because I like to think that we have an eye, or at least when I'm working with the kids, I try to keep an eye on not just preparing them for a tournament, but teach them the little things that they shouldn't do in a tournament that may not get them hurt in a tournament, but could get them hurt on the street. A couple kids like to turn their back a lot in the middle of a fight. And I keep trying to impress upon them that if you do that on the street, you could get clobbered, and it's not going to be good for you. Do that in a tournament, you're just going to get hit in the back, and the judge is going to stop it, reset you guys, and start over.
Yeah, tournaments, they work. Spin back knuckles, spin crescents, spin hooks, spin just for the sake of spinning. Works. Yeah. Because gosh forbid if it doesn't work and you get hit, it's going to get stopped. It's not like you get hit in the back and all of a sudden they're like, just keep going.
Yeah, right.
That's how it would be in a real fight.
It's like the old joke about how you can beat any jiu-jitsu black belt on the street.
Just start
choking you out, just start tapping out. No, I doubt a black belt would let go, but you might get away with that with a blue belt. Just do a little tap. The same thing goes with the street. Like, there is no, if you spin and somebody cracks you in the back of the head while you got your back to them, they're not going to stop. They're just going to keep going because the goal in the street is to win, and winning means different than winning in a tournament.
The one thing that I think you and I both do well impressing on the kids is just because you hit someone or you think you got a point, whether we're doing point sparring or not, if you think you got a point, don't stop. No. Keep going. Keep going until you're told to stop. Because if you get in the habit of whether you tap someone or you get them good and then you stop, that's what's going to happen. When you're in a fight, you're going to get them and you're going to stop.
It is so funny that you say that, because I have actually probably for the last 3 months, I've been picking my times when I clearly see a hit, but I don't call it, just to see what they do.
Yeah. I do the same thing.
And they'll stop and look at me like that was a point.
Don't look at me.
I didn't call anything, did I? I mean, I like, and I don't do it a lot, but I may do it like during tournament prep. I'll probably pick a kid and do it once a week to somebody. I don't want to keep doing it because then it gets a little demoralizing when clearly you hit somebody and the judge is not calling it.
Well, sometimes if I know one of the kids is exponentially better than the other, I'll make them score 2 points before I call one.
I do that too. If the mismatch is that great.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a little bit of a handicap.
Yeah.
And I think the older kids that are good, like maybe Maddie and Joe, they know we do that.
Oh
They
yeah,
know,
absolutely.
they know when they're fighting somebody that's clearly like a level or two below them, that we're giving them a helping hand, because we don't, yeah, you know me, I'm not a participation trophy kind of guy, but I also don't want to demoralize these kids. They've got to feel like they're doing well, and they got to feel like they're improving, or they're going to give up, and I don't want any of them to give up.
And Joe's funny when Joe will score like he'll score a point that's like a no doubter, and I won't call it. He'll just look at me and roll his eyes because he knows.
Well, he does it to me too.
Yeah, he knows.
He knows, but it's important. That also kind of does instill upon them a little bit of sense of fairness, a little bit of
Yeah,
good sportsmanship. That you're not supposed to just clobber somebody that's clearly not as good as you. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to win with a little bit of sense of dignity.
yeah. What the one thing that I liked that when you were out for that 1 week, the kids, I like it. The kids hate it when I say, "All right, you can only jab cross, or you can only throw hooks and crosses in this one, or just jabs and hooks." They hate it. But I'm like, you got to get accustomed to what if, because they all the time they'll see an opening and want to kick, and I'm like, no, 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 just punches tonight. And I can't wait till Mac and Cheese gets back. I'm like, I know.
But they shouldn't, because I could spontaneously just do that to them too, because
Yeah,
I think everything starts with a jab cross combination. I
you can
mean,
set everything up with a jab.
yeah, you can set up anything with a jab. You can set up anything. You can double pump that jab. You can jab into a kick, jab into a hook, jab cross hook, jab cross uppercut. I mean, there's a lot to do, but if you don't know to throw that first and get really good at throwing it, it's hard to sell the next whatever's coming next.
Well, that's what you're talking about. With a lot of times, the kids were throwing fakes before they actually threw the technique.
Yeah.
And we're like, yes, yes, that's a good fake, but it doesn't work that way. You
Yes.
got to establish that strike, whether it's a kick or a spin. You have to establish that strike in the match. And then moving forward, matches after that, you can use it because they know what to, they're expecting a certain level of kick or a certain level of technique from you. And that's when you start.
It could work in the same match.
Yeah.
And one thing I keep telling them, like, throw a kick, kick. Just keep kicking until you can't kick anymore. And I don't care if you throw 10 kicks in a row and they block all 10 of them. If you throw 10 in a row and they block all 10, when you throw that fake, they're going to go to block it. Their hands are going to come down. Their eyes are going to come down. You have to set it up. I have to say that not everybody's getting it. Not everybody's getting it. They got it a little bit, because I saw something that last tournament we were at. I saw somebody that at one of the other schools that was throwing a fake, and instead of just lifting the leg like they're, like it's a fake kick, they're doing the body movement like it's going to be a kick. So they would bring their leg up like it's going to be a kick, and they would shuffle that foot that's still on the ground. They would just shuffle it forward like they're going to throw the kick. They were kind of leaning into it, but without actually throwing the kick. So that makes it look more like the kick's coming than just raising your leg up. Yeah, that'll work, because in the heat of a match, if you just kind of do a kick check, you're probably going to get some attention. But
yeah,
you go the extra mile to sell it, you might be able to sell it sooner. You might be able to try and get that fake in sooner if you sell it with your whole body. The other thing I don't like about some of the kicks, and some people are getting a lot better at it since last year, is the dropping of the hands when they throw their kicks.
I hate that. Well, I told you the one time I was
the older kids are getting better at it, though. I will say that.
I was talking to a couple kids, because in my job I run into kids all the time. My sons have I have sons that are 8 and 10. They have a lot of friends, and I ran into a kid, and he was just like, hey, he's like, my brother and I take karate. I was like, oh, cool. That's really cool, dude. And I said, do you train with what's that called? I was like, do you train like jab, cross, and things like that, uppercut? And he's like, for what? Sparring. It's like, punches. I'm like, yeah. No, we don't punch in sparring. And I was like, I wasn't like, what are you talking about? I was just like, oh man, cool. I'd like, what do you do then? Like I was being like encouraging to him, but thinking in my head, I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we're taught. We bow, we touch gloves, and with our hands by our sides, we start to bounce. We start bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. And then we start throwing. And then these kids were throwing some amazing like kicks that I could never throw. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. That's cool. I was like, you know what would be pretty cool? I was like, you set them up with a punch, use some fakes. He's like, no, just at our school, we really don't do many punches. It's mostly kicks, but you got to keep yourself moving. So you got to keep bouncing. Those kids bounced the whole time. And I was like, that's impressive. I don't think it's in a school setting, in a tournament setting, cool. But like, not even in a tournament setting sometimes. You got someone who's really good with their hands, they're going to eat that kid up.
Yeah. Now, it was funny. I was actually trying to, full disclosure to everybody listening. It's like the third time I've heard this story now. And after the last time I heard it, I thought about it a little bit. And I was still trying to figure out why they would why they would take, two weapons away. Like that to me seems silly. If the kicks are that good, you add in some punches, then these kids are going to be really good. But
oh yeah,
I was thinking, like, are they taking them away because they're afraid of how hard somebody can hit? And I'm thinking that can't be it either, because anybody's going to kick a whole hell of a lot harder than they can punch. And so it's baffling me. I can't think about the reason why. There has to be a reason, and I'm sure there is, but that just it blows me away that they're just kicking. Like I might even think of the arts like Taekwondo, which is really kick heavy. Probably like most of it's probably I don't know what the breakdown is. If I had to guess, it's probably like 70% or higher of kick attacks in their curriculum versus punches, but they still punch. And the other thing that you said in that story that kind of boggles my imagination, if they're not going to punch, the fact that their hands are at their sides and not up here at least defending, because if they go to a tournament, I mean, somebody else is going to be punching.
Those kids, listen, if they were sparring against someone their size, they'd have been eating them up with head kicks. Granted, a lot of tournaments don't do head kicks, but those kids would eat up those kids their size with head kicks. So why are you not even picking your hands out to at least block the kicks coming?
100%. Because some of these other schools can kick like that too.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also throwing punches and they're also defending themselves. Yeah, I don't know. It's the third time I've heard this story, and I think each time it gets a little bit stranger. Like I don't why would you take those attacks away?
Mm-hmm. I don't know, but that's like another thing, tournament sparring. I love tournament sparring, which gives kids an opportunity to work on their kicks and punches and everything against other kids, a new crop of kids. But that flutter kick, wheel. I ain't done. Wheel. Constantly. Great. You know what? Not all of our kids know how to handle it because we don't do it. But I know you are working to kind of, when they're throwing a kick, kind of turn a back to it. Hopefully getting the kid to stop or moving towards their back, moving around towards the kicker's back, so it almost nullify it. But it's just
the other thing I was
in the street, it's never going to work.
The other thing I was doing was having them advance on an angle with like an iron wall, and then pivot and get a body shot. And I think Maddie scored on one of those at the tournament in the spring or in May, whenever it was, down in Delaware. I said, listen, when they come in like that, iron wall on an angle, They're not going to hit anything but your arm or leg. Punch to the body.
Yes.
And she scored that way. You had shared with me a really interesting video on that. Somebody was doing that in a tournament, and their opponent.
I'll see if I can link it.
Did what was it? I can't remember. Was it a spinning back kick?
Yeah, the dude just did a spinning back kick. I think the kid, they were going toe to toe. Like, say, the one guy had his right leg forward, the other guy had his left leg forward. They were toe to toe, and it was just like, as soon as you start throwing it, the dude just spun and hit him with a spin kick. I don't know if I got him in the nuts or if I got him in the
like the low stomach area.
It got him.
It got him. It was
yeah.
That's I think that's a very cheap way to try and get a point in a tournament.
Yeah.
It's and I think they're doing their students a disservice, because if they keep drilling that into them and they try that crap on the street, anybody that's training in any kind of mixed martial art or has any wrestling experience or judo or jiu-jitsu, that kid's just going to be eating his own leg.
I agree. And then you think to yourself, like, yes, probably the first, if they're throwing, like, say they throw 10 kicks, the first 3 or 4 are going to be monsters. And then after that, it's going to slowly decline. And in addition to that, you're working on contracting your glutes, contracting your leg, keeping the balance, bringing the leg back. It's a lot of stuff. Some people just think they go up and just kick. They got a lot of stuff, a lot of like things you wouldn't think of going on, like balance. You got to make sure when they're doing it, they're focusing where they're kicking, and it's just too much. The risk reward, I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either, and I think it takes away from practical self-defense. I think it's a cheap way to try and get a point in a tournament.
Does it work though? It does.
It does. That's why I said it's a cheap way to get a point.
Yeah. But
I keep working ways to thwart that, and we've got a couple of ways to do it. I want to teach a couple of the kids to do that spinning back kick. Yeah. I'm thinking a well-placed side kick, like a thrust kick. As they're coming in, you advance too with a side kick, and see who gets there first.
Or even switch kick. It all depends on who's not. It always depends on obviously who's doing it. It's just who we think can execute it well and in a timely manner. Because you can execute it well, but if it's not in a timely manner, it may not work. And flip-flop. Yeah. You may do it fast, but you may miss and stuff like that, put you in a vulnerable position. But it's one of those things. That's why Goals has you in for our sparring director. Those are the things that you think about where I want to teach this, but then you got to think to yourself, like, all right, this will work for this person. This will work for this person. It won't work for this one. Let's try it with this person. We're not just going to give it to everybody.
No. Yeah. Well, that's part of it. We know the capabilities of who's in there. I mean, I think like Maddie might be able to do that spinning back kick with a bunch of practice. And I think when we start getting into next tournament season, we may start working that with her, trying to get her to throw that effectively.
I'd like to see Wen try it too.
I think she may be able to. I'd love to see Wen try it. I think she could do it. And I think, I don't know. I think they might be the only two that might be able to pull it off. Learn it in enough time with the tournament. If we started now with everybody, we could probably get everybody drilled into it. But, we talked about some of the different things we like to do with sparring. And right now we're not preparing for a tournament. So I just decided, we're having a little fun with sparring now for the foreseeable future. Let them, know that it doesn't have to be all work all the time.
I posted some pictures on the Facebook page of just for the heck of it, you just had pillow fights. Oh, I saw that professional pillow fight league, and you're like, can I try it? I'm like, absolutely. It's not different. And the kids loved it.
I was surprised how much they all loved it. I thought it was going to be some mixed results there. Like maybe some of them were going to be like, "Oh, I'm too big to do a pillow fight." No, they all loved it. I was like,
Yeah.
so happy that they loved it, and we'll probably do that again at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to bring back something that you used to do in Goals Philly, and I think you said you were on board with it. I'm gonna get a like a little toy,
The
like
pugil stick. Yeah.
no. Yeah, that too. But I want to get like a little toy championship belt.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have it.
You still
It's
have
over here somewhere.
Yeah, I want
I got it
to.
somewhere over here.
I want to have every week somebody's going to be a champion of the week.
Yeah.
Every week somebody's going to
You
be.
know what? I may have two. If not, I'll grab one. I can get one at Walmart, but have like one for the littles.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like Sawyer and Nerese. Them have one for their class, and then have one for the older kids.
Yeah. Let them
have have a universal title for both of them, and they could be Roman Reigns.
Yeah. It'd be like Maddie Reigns. But yeah, I wanted them to have a little fun because we used to have a lot. Like we used to do things like the island sparring up in Goals Philly, the pugil sticks. We would run the sparring with different rules. We would do 2-on-1s. You know, it was just a lot of different things that we were doing to have fun with it, and I want them to have fun with it because I don't want them to like get bored with it when we're not preparing for a tournament. At least they're staying active and they're using the muscles so that I'm going to take off from sparring for a few months until the next tournament's ready. And then I'm going to come back and then I'm going to be sore for the first 2 weeks while my body adjusts to it again.
Knew who looked good coming back off sparring after missing a round? Natalie.
Yes.
Natalie looked really good.
A little tentative in her first match on Thursday night, but by the time she got to her last match, she was moving with purpose.
She's good. She's good.
She is good.
And,
I'd love to see more of the kids get involved. I mean, I know some of them probably don't want to, and maybe some of the parents don't want to.
You know what? I haven't pitched it in a while to everybody. Maybe I'll throw it out there again. Maybe to the ninjas, the 9, 10, and 11s. Maybe I'll pitch it out to them, see who we can get from there. And then maybe I'll pitch out 6, 7, and 8s. It all, you know what I mean? Yeah. Can't hurt.
No, I have a lot of fun working with them. It's really kind of awesome. I'm really thankful that you let me be involved and let me run with this.
Yeah, it's fun, but like you said, it's sometimes hard to come up with new idea. Like, what was that one? We used to do the Hunger Games. When Hunger Games first came out, we used to put all the weapons in the middle of the floor, and it'd be usually 4 people. We would say you could do 3-on-1, 2-on-2, 2-on, whatever you wanted to do. But you had to run in, you had to get your weapon. So a lot of people would run in, get a weapon, or some people would hold off and wait. It was funny to see some of the kids' strategies after we established it.
Oh yeah. Oh my God! Taylor, I remember loved that.
Oh yeah, it was fun. Watching it, I would just sit off to the side. Obviously, if people were hitting too hard, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
But just watching it, I was like, man, this is all. I love it. It's awesome. And I don't know how I came up with it. I don't know if it was
at the time the Hunger Games was really popular. That's probably how you came up with it.
Yeah.
The same way I came up with the pillow fight.
Yeah.
Just scrolling through Facebook, and I'm like, professional pillow fighting. Oh, how to bring that to goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just surprised that went over as well as it did. Everybody really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that they did.
That's cool. That's cool. So, is there anything else you wanted to say about sparring as far as how we run it? Now, some other schools, not some other school, like because we're not obviously you and I are not talking down about any schools, but just like in general, how some other schools approach it or how we approach it differently.
Yeah, I'm not here to crap on anybody else's program. Like I said about the school with the no punches. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason, and until I know what that reason is, it's not for me to talk down to some guy for the way he runs his school and what he does with his kid. He's got some reason for it, and maybe eventually they're going to introduce punches, but they're just working it backwards. Maybe they feel it's smarter to get a foundation of kicks first, and then eventually they'll work into punches. I don't know. There could be a million reasons why they do that. You said their kick techniques were really good. So like I said, kind of hard to crap on somebody when at least what they're learning, they're doing well.
Yeah.
It's one thing if they're not, like if they're saying, oh yeah, we're just going to throw kicks. And then, how long you been at the school? Oh, I've been there a year. Oh, cool. Let me see your kicks. And the kicks are crap. Well, then, all right. So now there's maybe a little cause to talk some crap on the school because, all right, you're teaching them just a kick, but their kicks, they've been doing this for a year and their kicks look like that. Like
maybe the punches don't come in until later on in the curriculum. Everybody structure curriculum differently.
Possibly. That's why I said, like, nothing we said about what they were doing was meant to like talk down.
We stress more punches and we stress more hands and punches as opposed to kicks, but we also still teach kicks.
Yeah. It seems odd to us because the way we were both trained. And
we both boxed.
Before I ever put on a karate gi, I boxed.
Yeah.
That's what, my foundation for all my fighting comes from boxing. I love boxing. And at this point in my life, I'm 52 years old. I've got the hips of an 82-year-old and the knees of a 92-year-old. So, like, I don't throw a lot of kicks anymore. I don't think I can get any higher than chest level with my kicks. When I was 16, I could head kick like crazy. And, so that's not really part of me anymore. If I get into a fight now, I might do a couple leg kicks, but, I mean, it's going to be pretty much all hands. In fact, it's probably going to be, I'm probably going to find a way to take you to the ground. At this point, I feel a little bit more comfortable down there than I do in a stand-up fight.
You ought to start thumping the leg kicks like Alex does.
Yeah. Oh my God, my legs still hurt from way back when I took my green belt test and I had to spar her, and she was like drilling me in the leg with those leg kicks. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe a 16-year-old girl is putting welts in my leg.
She is taking an MMA class now at school. So she's taking that, and it's trying to think. I don't know if it's for one full semester, but she's going to be graduating soon. So she's taking that as one of her electives.
Well, when after she graduates, when she comes back home, we have to have her on the podcast.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That'd be awesome.
Actually, we should put her and Peter on the same podcast.
I gotta get Peter in for one of these.
Yeah, 100%. We can just sit there and make fun of him for a half hour.
Yeah, show some pictures of him from when he was a little kid.
Here, read his black belt speech.
I still got it.
Me and the girl still have fun with that, but that's okay.
I'm trying to think, what's today? The 1st?
Yeah.
Next Wednesday, we have 2 girls tested for black, so that should be fun. Erin and Abby. That should be fun.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
Taylor really regrets that she can't be there, but I want to be there because I'm excited for them. I want to see them get their black belts, and Abby has made me promise that I will not be anywhere near the room when she's reading her black belt speech because she doesn't want to read it out loud, and she doesn't want to be around when she does it. And I said, I will respect that. And then when I test for my black belt, I'm going to make sure that everybody watches me, but her, she won't be allowed.
Oh, geez. But I think this was a good one. Just talking about different avenues of sparring.
Yeah, no, 100%. I love what we do. I don't disparage any other schools and what they do. I used to. I used to be not a fan of the schools that didn't teach hitting to the head. But again, they have their reasons for it. It could be insurance. It could be somebody got hurt and they don't want to repeat an incident like that. So again, I'm not talking down on them, but I just think that's a target you don't want to take away from somebody when they have to defend themselves in the street. They should know how to defend themselves to all targets on the body.
Yeah, I agree. So thank you very much for redoing the podcast because
we had some technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties on the other one. No one ever hit record.
I think,
but, nonetheless, I think this one came out a lot better.
I actually do too. It was good. This one felt like it flowed a lot better.
Thank you very much, kind sir.
No,
so, This is Mr. Bother People's Black Belt. This is Mr. Mac and Cheese. And we'll see you at the next podcast, brother.
All right, man.
See you later.
See you tomorrow.